Diamonds on the windshield as heaven starts to cry. And in his rearview mirror, his angel waves goodbye. She knows he's gonna go. She knows he's one of them. Brothers of the highway, children of the wind. That Detroit diesel pirate ship goes blowing out again. Sailing toward the setting sun, freedom's their best friend. Brothers of the highway, children of the wind. I'll bring it on in there. Well, put the pedal to the metal, try to outrun the rain. Another shot of truck stop coffee as I run in through his veins. This world turns on 18 wheels, thank God we can depend. Brothers of the highway, children of the wind. That Detroit diesel pirate ship goes blowing out again. Sailing toward the setting sun, freedom's their best friend. Brothers of the highway, children of the wind.
Hey, hey, hey! Talking about some noise. What you talking about? I ain't heard no noise. I heard some damn good music. Tony Justice bringing us in like always. Y'all know what we do. Got my Coca-Cola. Who's up in here? Big John, I seen you. I don't see your comment now, but I seen you when you popped in. Jason Perry. Sean Price is in the house. Kaislin. Oh, there's Bert Reynolds. Brent, evening to you. Hitchcock Transport. Stu Manchu. There's Michael P. Oh, you know what we play in a Tony Justice. We know it. There's old Mr. Mentor. What's going on, everybody? Thomas Wilson, what's going on? Good evening to you. We are live from the Iowa 80, my most favorite truck stop in the world. The Iowa 80. And if you're anybody who really likes trucks and stuff, this has got to be your most favorite truck stop. Who could argue with that? I hope everybody has had a good weekend. No bumper not installed. They do not carry a bumper for a 386 in stock, just like they do not carry a bumper for a T680 in stock. Thomas is trailer trucking in South Carolina. How about that? I like South Carolina. Grew up 5 minutes from there. 10 minutes, I guess you'd say, from South Carolina. No, Stu, he has got that all by himself. He I think he's more than capable. More than capable. Yeah, okay, Kaislin. All right, yep. I'm having to hold back from buying myself some, much less buy you some. TJ Jones, what's going on? All right there, Bert. You hold your breath. Hope everybody had a good weekend. If you were home or trucking, I hope it was a safe one. I've been on the road all weekend. And trucking it up. Yeah, those weekends home are too short. That's why I try not to go home every weekend, simply because I'd rather go home every other weekend for more days. Stretch it out a little bit. But to each their own. Whatever makes you happy, whatever works for you, that's what you do. That's the beauty of this business, right? I don't know if they got a bumper for Coronado or not. I guess it depends on what type of Coronado. If it's the first version Coronado, probably not. If it's the second version Coronado, that takes a standard square bumper. So as long as they got one with the right bolt holes in it, then you'll be good to go. First version Coronado's kind of got a curve to it. Keith James, what's going on? I wanted to talk a little bit. I know everybody talks about the rates being down, and I've even experienced that a little bit myself, just a little. Oh, TJ, okay, a lot of smoke in there from Utah from the California fires. Yeah, I'm not. I haven't been keeping up with the news a whole lot. As far as I know that they got some fires burning out there, but I haven't been keeping up with the news to know how bad it is really. But I had seen little bits and pieces earlier in the week while I was home where they had some of those fires going out there. But I wanted to talk a minute about the rates, because everybody's running around with their hair on fire, seems like, that the rates are down, rates are down, rates are in the gutter, rates are in the gutter, rates are in the tank. Got to know how to negotiate, better learn how to negotiate. And maybe that's the key, is knowing how to negotiate. And I'm not going to claim to be an expert negotiator. I think sometimes you might just get lucky. Sometimes you get lucky. Sometimes you catch somebody when they got to move something. You know? There's a certain amount of that that's going to have to be involved. Begging helps. There you go. Sometimes you got to beg. Hey, buddy, throw me a bone. Throw me a bone. I need some help here. That don't never hurt. But, you know, the thing I've realized, or not necessarily realized, but thing I have noticed is I've still been able to get good rates. It just simply means you have to call more people to get them. You might not get a good rate on the 1st or 10th or 15th phone call like you did a month or two ago. But if you stay vigilant and stay after it and don't give in or don't give up, you can find it. I left house Wednesday with a long run to get to the Midwest for a Friday delivery, and was going over to the Akron, Ohio area, over around between Akron and Cleveland. And I figured that was going to be a good area to be in on a Friday to get a longer run to go over the weekend, to where I just pick up Friday and deliver Monday. Or to bug Bert, I'll say Monday. But anyway, wasn't having any success with finding a longer run that paid enough dollars to justify the 3 day of the weekend. Plenty of longer runs, you know, 7, 8, 900. What year, Kaislin? What year? Plenty of 7, 8, 900 mile runs, just not paying enough per mile to add up to enough dollars to justify being on that run for the whole weekend. Not in my mind, at least. And so, ended up doing 2 short hops. All right, 2007, that's the first generation, so you're going to have that curved front bumper. 2012 was the start of the second generation Coronado. Man, that sucks, TJ. That sucks. Yep, I know how you feel. I just got mine out Wednesday from the clutch job, $3,000. So I know what you're dealing with there. But anyway, I completely lost my train of thought. Oh, ended up doing 2 short ones. Saturday, Friday, picked up a short one Friday, delivered it Saturday morning, then went and picked up another short one and delivered it this morning, and then grabbed another load that I would consider a longer short run. It's only 380 miles. But, and then I was able to book a load today to pick up tomorrow. And it was a Click and Go app broker, and they put that load on their board today. It wasn't there yesterday. They had 2 of them for tomorrow pickup. I like the times. I like the rate. And it's going back to Central Ohio. I'm over here at the Iowa 80. I delivered in Cedar Rapids in the morning. And then I've got a load going back over to the Dayton, Ohio area. And it was Click and Go. That load in particular was right just under $3 a mile. Click and Go. Booked it on a Sunday. Going back to Central Ohio from Iowa. Yeah, I went ahead and took that. But I'm not seeing the hair on fire scenario that some people, mainly that I see on Facebook and other social media, the hair on fire situation, the sky's falling, Chicken Little type talk that we're getting. You just have to call more. You just have to call, unless you just want to give up. You give up, you give in, you're going to run for less, because you got to work harder to find that person that needs to move that load enough to pay a decent rate or a higher rate. You know, the national average is still just barely over $2 a mile for van truckload. So if you're sitting around there at 280, 290, that's a good rate. You know, in my mind, at least it is. And in everybody's mind, it's going to be different. But in my mind, if I, after the company's cut, after the carrier's cut, if I can net $2 a mile, I'm happy. That is far more than I ever averaged at any other company. And if I can do $2 a mile to me after the company's cut, I'm pleased with that. Would I like more? Sure. You know, sometimes can you get more? Sure. But if I'm running for $2 a mile to me, I'm good to go with that. And I'm making way more at $2 a mile than what I need to make. So $2 a mile has not been hard to do. Yeah, exactly. $2 a mile after the split, that's a good number. At least it is to me. And everybody's good number is going to be a different number. What's good to me might be awful sounding to some, you know. And to each their own. There's nothing wrong with that. Some people have to have more. And it's just a little harder to get it. You have to work a little harder to get it. So there's nothing wrong with needing to have more. If you need to have $2.20 a mile, there's nothing wrong with that. You know? And you can probably get it, even with today's rates. I ran a few numbers, and this is just for this week, because I was off for a solid week prior to that. But now this is counting the load. I left home Wednesday, and this is counting the load that I will pick up tomorrow and deliver Tuesday. And after the company's cut, my number for the week is 53.24, and that is on 2605 total miles. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on with the signal here at the Iowa 80. My other phone is not liking it at all. But I tried restarting them and everything before I got on. If it becomes a problem, just tell me and we'll do this another day. But so 53.24 after the company cut. And that was on 2605 all miles. Now, I had 256 deadhead miles. Part of that was the last load that I carried home to go and get my clutch. And it was I just needed to get something going close to the house to be able to go get my clutch repaired. And Snorlord, what's going on? What's going on, Pappy? What's going on, Pappy? So anyway, I had a little bit more extended deadhead to start my week off because I had to get home. And I just took the load that got me the closest as possible and ran with it to get home and do the clutch, which that deadhead went into this week. So actual loaded miles for this week's only going to be 2349. So if you take my cut of money and do 2349 loaded miles, that comes out to 227 a mile, 226.6 to be exact. Even on all miles, including my deadhead, it's 204. So don't let people say that, yeah, rates are down. Well, yeah, rates may be down in general, but you can still find good money. You don't have to run for $1.60. You don't have to run for $1.40, because there's still brokers out there that's willing to pay a decent rate to get their freight moved. You just have to work harder to find it. And I'm going to tell you what, only one of those loads was with a smaller broker. Only one. Every other load that I hauled this week, or will haul, my last one will be tomorrow. Jonathan Wheeler, what's going on? All of those loads are with big mega brokers. And they all pay decent rates. Did they pay $4 a mile? No. But they were all good rates that I can live with, that I feel is a good, reasonable rate. I'm not out here to gouge anybody. I need to make a good living. They need to make a good living. The companies that we're hauling for need to make a good profit. If I can get my decent rate, I'm happy with that. Don't be greedy. So that's all I wanted to say about that. There you go, Snorlord. See, the rates are out here still. They're not as plentiful as they were before. Maybe, maybe that's true. I believe that. But you can still get good rates even now with the soft market as it is. You just have to work a little harder to find it. That's all that there is to it. I appreciate it, James. I appreciate it. No, Pappy, no whiteboard for me. No whiteboard. I've got the poor man Southern whiteboard, the old legal pad, pen and paper. Pen and paper. The other thing I wanted to say, and I had an experience with this the other day on Friday. Once I decided that I wasn't going to be able to do the one long run, my game plan shifted, and now on Friday I needed to book a short one to deliver Saturday, and a short one to deliver Sunday, and a short one to deliver Monday. Had to do all of that on Friday because most of the brokers are not there over the weekend. So I nailed down my Friday to Saturday. Jason Perry, you're going to get booted off this channel if you say those curse words ever again, okay? That's just the end of that. But booked a load Friday for Saturday and Saturday for Sunday. And I was looking for my Sunday to Monday load. I was only halfway kidding, Jason. Anyway, I called on a load, and this is where there's a moral to this story that I'm about to tell you. And I'm going to make it as brief as possible, but with me, that means probably 10 minutes. Called on a load, and it was with a big broker who also has a trucking company. And it's the load I'm actually on now. Brought it out of Michigan, going to Cedar Rapids. Well, it's 380 loaded miles. I would have had about 50 deadhead miles to go get it. And they wanted to be at $900. Well, Snorlord, actually, I was out of there at like 12 o'clock. Kaislyn, I'll come back to that in a second. Jason Perry, I was only halfway kidding. Jonathan Wheeler, you're on a thin rope there. Yes, TJ. Yes. All right. So anyway, called on this load. It's actually the load I'm on now. 380 miles, 50 miles of deadhead. And I was thinking, 1250, somewhere in that neighborhood is what I was hoping to get. And the guy said $900. And then I told him, I said, no, I'd need to be about 1250. And he said, no, can't do that. And he wasn't willing to even move. So he's like, if I can do it, I'll call you. I'm like, okay, fine. Wasn't a big deal. I moved on. Well, ended up booking another load that was undoable, and the appointments were going to attempt to be changed. Wasn't able to be done, so gave it back because they couldn't change the appointments. And I'm scrolling the board again, and here is this load for this same broker that I called on before and wanted 12 something, and they said no, 9, and wouldn't move and would call me if they could do the 12. Well, that load is back on the board now for $14.50. But I never got a call that they could do it at 12. Obviously, big company, lots of people. Somebody posted that load up for a higher number, because when I had called about it, there was no number. There was no offer. So either, one hand wasn't talking to the other, or the first guy I had on the phone was really trying to gouge me, whatever. So I called back as if I had never called before, and as if I didn't see the offer on the board. And when they go over all the details and everything, then they throw the number out there. I'm like, oh, I act dejected that it's $14.50. And I end up getting it for $1,500. I said, oh, I like it better at $1,600. She said, well, we can do $15. That sounds great. I'll do it for $15, I guess. Because in reality, I had called 2 or 3 hours before and was trying to get it for $12. Now I got it for $15 because they didn't bother to call me back. So never give up. Never give up. And even when you get rejected on a load, Steve actually gave me this suggestion. If it's a big company like this, one of these big brokerages, hang up and call back. Chances are you'll get somebody else. Maybe you'll get more money out of them. That's a good idea. And I'm going to try it. If I'm calling one of these big brokers where you don't put in an extension number or load number, whatever, it's just random person who answers the phone, then yeah, if they don't give you a good number, hang up and call back. Try again with somebody else. Yeah, Kaislyn. Yep. No, I'm really not an NFL team. I imagine you're a New England Patriots, and they beat my Falcons here 2 years ago in the Super Bowl, but I don't really care. I'm not big into the NFL. Well, TJ had the pleasure to play some high school on the Blue Smurf turf out there in Boise. Isn't that in Boise? Yeah, Boise State, yeah. Oh, well, yeah, back up further in the comments, there it is, Boise State. Yes, Kaisley goes for Savannah State. Oh, that's funny. That's funny. But no, oh, hell. I'm deleting your number out of my phone. No, yeah. So that's all I wanted to say about the broker thing. I'm not going to give people advice on how to broker or how to negotiate because I'm still new at this. I've only been doing this this is my 5th month now, being in the spot market, dealing with brokers. Remove his wrench. Yeah, apparently not there, Snorlord. I'm not going to give advice or tell people what they should do or shouldn't do or how they should do it in negotiating with brokers, because by all means, I'm still learning. I'm still learning what works, what doesn't work, how to get comfortable with negotiating. But regardless of how new you are, yeah, it will, Brent. I don't ever take anything down unless I'm acting a fool. But the Snorlord's suggestion was, if it's one of these big, large brokerages with, hundreds of people that are answering phone calls, brokering loads, if you make a call and you don't get a good rate, or you feel like you got a bad person to talk to and they don't give you the money you want, hang up and call back. You're probably going to get somebody different, and you might be able to get the number you want from them. So, because we've all, anybody who's in the spot market now, we've made those calls, and the minute the person answers the phone, you can just tell maybe they're having a bad day. They're not motivated. Maybe they hate their job. Maybe they hate their life. But you can tell by the way somebody is talking on the other end of the line whether or not they're positive, upbeat, motivated, and they want to be talking to you. And when somebody like that answers, Burger, what's up? What's up? So when somebody like that answers the phone, then, I immediately understand this person does not want to be talking to me. They're answering the phone simply because they have to. So those calls don't usually go too good, because they usually don't feel like taking the effort to try to negotiate with you. Well, there you go, TJ. There you go. I don't want to commit to a direct shipper deal, for a couple of reasons. I don't want to do the same thing over and again. I've been down that road. I don't want to lock into a rate. Yes, it might hedge you against a downturn, but it also hedges you out of a upswing. From what experience I've seen anyway. Maybe you can build that into your deal with the direct shipper, and if you can, well, then that's all great. All right, Burger, appreciate you stopping by. I'm gonna leave the video up. You can listen to it later on while you're rolling. But I just don't really care to get into that direct shipper thing. I don't want to be committed to a certain run or customer every week, and then, unless it's if it was an out and back, then that might be easier to swing. Yeah. It all depends on what works best for you, because honestly, the quarterly thing, the 90-day average is way off. On a lot of these runs, the 90-day average is not what they're quoting. Now, occasionally you can find it. I personally, though, I would only maybe consider a dedicated, direct shipper deal if it was an out and back, because so much can happen to prevent you from getting that backhaul sometimes. And I guess it depends, too, on where you live and how easy it is to find reliable, consistent freight coming back. Because you've got that dedicated, consistent deal with XYZ shipper. Okay, so see, yours is out and back. That makes it easier and a little more doable. Without that, you'd be stressed as a single person operation like I am. I would be stressed that I'm going to take my normal dedicated direct shipper load out and maybe have a problem getting back. And so I and if it was out and back, I would think about it a little more, but a one-way deal, that'd be hard to figure just by yourself, because if you mess around and a load cancels, or you're just not able to find something, then you're stuck with two options, and that's a lot of deadhead to get back to cover that dedicated direct shipper load that you're committed to, or you're missing one, and that's going to end up harming the relationship you've got with the direct shipper. So I don't know that I would want to commit to that. Maybe if it was an out and back, I could see that being easier to do, because you take that part out of the equation, and then as long as it's something you enjoy doing, it's not something that's a pain in the butt, and you make good rate per mile at it, well then, hey, you're set. Okay, well there you go. Kaislyn, I do not have that. I have the most basic plan that there is. I do not need to know what the 90-day average is. The most basic plan that I have through OIDA comes with the 90-day average. Do I really pay it any attention? No, I do not, because my rate is my rate. What I need to make is what I need to make. Now, I do use the 90-day average to see a load, to see, okay, this place to that place is 90-day average is this. Well, that's way below what I would need, so that's probably one of the last loads I'll call on, unless it's just somewhere I really want to go. But I don't pay attention to all the other little gadgets and gizmos that they're offering for $150. I don't see the value in it. There's dead end areas, and then there's areas that are consistently good. And if you stay in the areas that are consistently good and don't go to the dead end areas, you'll be fine. There's dead end areas that are always dead end. There's areas that are hit or miss, and I live in hit or miss. But I only go there when I go home and when I come back. And so, I don't see the value in it. You want to spend $149 on the DAT Members Edge? Go for it. If you see value in it, then it's worth it. I personally don't. I don't spend that money. Well, there you go, TJ. If me and Steve talked about this the other night. At the end of the day, we're all out here to make a living, but we're all out here because we enjoy it. I hope, because I know I am. I'm out here because I enjoy this. There's sacrifices that come with this job, with trucking, but I'm out here because I enjoy it, and it pays me well, and it provides a good life for me and my family. Much more than any other job I could have, because this is all I really know. But if you've got a gig, dedicated deal, round tripper, whatever your scenario is, if you're at a company as a company driver, if you're at a private fleet as a private fleet driver, if you're hauling a NASCAR rig, or if you're on a haul fish, whatever your gig is, whatever your scenario is, if it makes you happy, that's the biggest goal that you can have. If it provides a good living, a sustainable living, and provides you with a happy scenario, hey, what more can you ask for? Maybe $1 million. That's about it. Well, there you go, TJ. There you go. All right, so Kaislyn, back here a little bit ago, you asked, let me go back. Oh, I didn't see your comment there, Snorlord. Reading people can be a good thing. Yes, paying attention to who's on the other end of the line makes good sense. Kaislyn likes to fight in Irish. Where were you at, Kaislyn? Man. Maybe I passed it. No. Okay. Trying to look up accessorial charges like detention times and pay, TANU, and etc. just to get an idea. Okay. Well, that's good, TJ. I'm glad. I'm glad it's working out for you. That really, if you really think about it, if you break this down to one of its most simple forms, trucking has so many different variations, so many different little niche things, between the different types of trailers, the different types of specialized service that goes on, that if you can find a little niche, a little speck of the market that you enjoy and enjoy doing every single day, that's great. And the beauty of this industry is that there's so many different little variations to it that you can usually find that. Maybe it's a different company job, or a different way of being an owner-operator, or a different type of freight that you always haul. Do you want to haul a tanker, or a dump truck, or a flatbed, or a step deck, or heavy haul? There's so many different variations to this that if you venture around a little bit and experiment, you can find that little area that really suits you. If you're really into trucking, if you get enjoyment out of this job, it's something for everybody. And that's really the beauty of it. But as far as Kaislyn was saying about accessorials, tonneaus, and detention and all, okay, this is personal opinion, okay? So I'm going to preface what I'm about to say, personal opinion. Do as you will. I'm not saying anybody's stupid for doing otherwise. I might be stupid in other people's eyes for the way I do it, okay? And I've actually had conversation with Bert about this. But tonneau, truck order not used, certain brokers are better than others. One of the Click and Go apps, they are very good about it. Very good. If you use their app from the time you start deadheading and then you get to the shipper and it's a truck order, it's a load cancellation, they will pay you a truck order not used plus X amount of miles at X amount of rate of your deadhead to get there. They're very good, and it's almost automatic because they're tracking you on the app once you start heading to your shipper for them. So very straightforward and cut and dry. A lot of other brokers, not so much. Even some, after long amount of times waiting, and then load gets canceled and no truck order not used. What are you gonna do? You're gonna put up something against their bond for $150? For one, you're not the owner of the company, so you can't really do that. But is it worth all the time and the effort? No, it's not. They know it's not worth your time and effort to do that, so they know that you're not going to come after. Detention pay. I personally do not worry about detention pay unless it's a lot of money. And what big road, little truck. Way late, start over. Well, you'll have to get the replay. That's exactly right, TJ. I don't worry about detention. A lot of these companies is $20, $25 an hour, and it's usually 2 hours that you have to give them. And I'll be honest with you, in the 5 months that I've been out here, I couldn't really tell you how many times exactly I've had more than 2 hours, but it hasn't been very many at all. Very many at all. One of the times that I did have, the only time I've had a major delay, and it was actually with a Click and Go app, and they figured your detention immediately from the app, and they had it from the time you rolled onto the property to the time you left. And they started the time at, I was there early, so of course my appointment time came, and then from there 2 hours, and then my detention kicked right in. Boom. Automatic. And when I showed that I was leaving and I departed, GPS marked me as departed as I drove away, and just like that, my detention pay calculated and added straight to my rate con. And that's one of the few that do it that way. There are a few brokers that are very good about detention. They will send you an updated rate con right now. Most of them, it is very difficult. You got to have stamp time, stamp in and out, and then you got to send it to them. And it's going to take a couple of days to get it, approved from the broker, blah, 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 blah. At the end of the day, let's think about this. If you're getting $25 an hour or $30 an hour or $40 an hour, and you're at a place for 4 hours, so you gave them 2 for free. Now you're owed 2 hours of detention pay. Even at $40, that's $80. Are you going to hold your pay up on that load? Because I get paid every day. I get paid after every load. Now I guess if you're the guy that doesn't get paid but once a week, maybe you consider that. I don't know. That's between you and your company. But I get paid after every single load. I turn the bills in, I get paid tomorrow. I'm not holding up my pay for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 days, depending on how long the broker wants to drag it out, to get $80 or maybe even 50. I'll give you a perfect example. I went to a food distribution in Louisville. I was there for 4 hours past my appointment time. And when I called in, the broker told him I was leaving. She says, "Oh, you got 2 hours of detention coming." Well, I had already read their detention policy on my rate confirmation. It's $25 an hour. So that told me I had $50 in detention, right? $50. Now, when I called and told her I was empty and leaving, and she made the comment about I had 2 hours of detention coming, I asked her, I said, "Well, what's the process to get that $50? "Oh, well, you'll have to get your dispatcher to send in copies of the in and out times, and then we'll have to send that over to a manager for approval, and it usually takes 3 to 4 days." Now, am I going to hold my paycheck up for 3 to 4 days for $50? Really? Because I quoted hauling the load for this amount of money because this is the amount of money I felt comfortable hauling it for. If $50 makes that big of a difference, there's a problem. At least there is in my mind. Now, if you've got detention that is in the hundreds of dollars, okay, we've got to figure that one out because that means we've been detained a while. Okay, now that's the point where you start trying to say, okay, we're going to have to figure this one out. But 30, 40, $50, even $80, I'm not fooling with that. I got other fish to fry way bigger than $80. Send me on down the road. I'll send you the bill. This one's on me. Here's your bills. Pay me for my load. I'm good to go. I'm not holding up my pay for $50. So, I don't ever fool with accessorials. I figure my cost for the load. That's exactly right, Bert. That's exactly right. When you have a broker like that, you just say, okay, you keep it in the back of your mind. The next time, and I know exactly the name of the broker it was, if I haul a load for them again, I'm going to tack some of that onto the next load. And they won't know that. But I'm going to get my money one way or the other. So, now if it's a big amount of detention time, well then fine, okay, we'll hang on for that one. But the little minuscule amounts, 2-3 hours at $25 an hour, got better things to do than be fighting over $50-$60. So that's personal choice, though. That's personal choice. If you feel like doing that, have at it. Go for it. I won't think of you any less. I just won't be joining you. There again, I said this just a minute ago, but that's the beauty of trucking. Everybody can do it as they see fit. However, it makes them feel that they're doing it the best way they can. So if you're the person that wants to fight for that $50 or $60 every single time, go for it. That's what makes you happy. At the end of the year, if you get every one of them, you might have another $1,000 or $2,000 in me. That's fine. That's really good. That's the beauty of this industry, is that everybody has the opportunity to do it as they see fit. So that's one of the biggest draws of this to me. I mean, I love the lifestyle, I love trucks, I love the freedom of the road and all of that, but being able to do this the way you see fit makes a huge difference. $50 equals 4 chicken dinners. That is true. That is true. $50 equals about 4 dinners at Popeyes. So I might have to rethink that now that you point that out. Big Road Little Truck says, if you kind of know the place you're going to is bad for holding trucks, can you use that as an excuse to force a high rate, meaning get detention up front, so to speak? Not if you mention it. Because no broker is going to say, I'll give you extra up front, because they may detain you, because they have a reputation for detaining you, and they may detain you this time. But if you simply build in an extra $100 or something, an extra $150 or whatever, $100 into your rate, and don't tell them that, then, you can negotiate that into the rate. But if you say, hey, I'll haul it for this rate per mile or whatever, this dollar, but then I need an extra 100 because they're going to hold me up, they're not going to do that, because they'll say, well, we'll handle that with our normal standard detention policy. But you can definitely build that into your number that you give them without saying that that's what is involved with your number. There's been people talk about they build truck washes into their rate. Now, I'm not going that far. There have been people talking about they build in the reserve parking to their rate, and I'm not going that far. I'm not calling a broker and say, hey, can I get the details on the load, and I say, all right, can I get $26.85 and 26 cents on this load? That's what I need to haul it. I'm not doing all of that. But you can definitely build things into the rate that you need to haul the load if you know you're going somewhere that's going to hold you up. Add a little money in there because you're going to get held up. There's nothing wrong with that. Kaislyn has had 3 in the last 2 weeks, 6 hours, 5 hours, 8 hours. Okay, so here's what I want to say about that, because there's a lot of people at these mega carriers, I was one of them, okay, that when you're at a mega carrier, Kaislyn, let me ask you something. Those 3 that you got held up, those 3, the 3 delays of big detentions, how many of those were supposed to be drop and hook, and you got there and they were either not loaded or weren't loaded yet? How many of those were supposed to be drop and hook and they turned into a live situation? Kaislyn may be gone. No, they were all live unloads. They were scheduled to be all live unloads? Well, you just got unlucky, sir. Because honestly, in 5 months, I've had 1. I didn't see Jeff stroll in. Where does Jeff stroll in? What? Well, apparently I'm not seeing all the comments. Yeah, I don't see. Yes, that's where I was going with that, Jeff. That's where I was going with that. Because uh, when I was at Schneider and a live unload or a live load occurred, yeah, I don't know. Even on my side, I don't see the first comment. It's not here, which is kind of disturbing to me because that means I might be missing comments the whole time. When I was at Schneider and you ran into a situation where you had to get a live load or a live unload, a lot of the times it was at the big places, and they are not usually oriented and set up to do live load, live unload as their main objective. Those are contract loads that are supposed to be preload with no hurry, that type of a situation, and you just happen to be sitting there waiting on it. So what I find though in the spot market is the brokers are these loads that you're brokering in the spot market. These shippers and receivers have these loads set up as a live load, live unload. That's to be expected. Grabber, what's up? And that's how they expect it to be. That's how they set their operation up. So you being a live load is not throwing a wrench in their operation because that's how they're set up. When you show up as a Swift or a Schneider or a JB Hunt and your load's not ready and now they have to live load you, or they didn't have a trailer to load, and so when you show up to get it, they got to load yours. A lot of times those operations are not set up to be a live load situation, and so you get held up for a long amount of time. Now, if you're talking about food grade stuff, sometimes production gets off. Okay? That's going to happen. There was a food shipper that I hauled for on Friday that I used to go to at Schneider. Yes. All right, called on 15 trucks. $10 for a half a chicken. I don't do those half a chickens. I don't do that. That's got bones. No. I don't do bones. I'm a lazy eater. I just want to bite it. I'm not picking bones and all that. Lazy. But so that's been my experience anyway, as far as the live load, live unload, and taking all kind of time or whatever. I do like kid type food. Versus being in the spot market and not having a big deal with that. 5 months, one major ordeal, and that's one of the places that somebody else that I know went there, and it was the same type situation. So it just goes, it's a big X. Shamrock Foods took 8 hours to unload me. The owner operator was there, took the same amount of time. Yeah, food type stuff is going to take longer. Now 8 hours is excessive, but let's just think about this. If your Raycon came through and said $25 an hour, that's 6 hours past your 2, because you're going to give them 2 for free. So 6 at $25 an hour is $150. Depending on how hard they want to try to make that, you could sit on a paycheck for a week or two to try to get that $150, and then they will and can probably find a way to weasel out of it. If something's not stamped correctly, a time is not stamped correctly, a signature's not in the right place, If they want to, they can probably find a way to weasel out of paying that. So now you've held your paycheck up for a week or a week and a half or 2 weeks, and you get it declined anyway. So it just depends on how much effort you're willing to put into it to get that kind of money. Now $150, that might be the point that I start thinking about it. But if it's 50, 60, 70 bucks, I got better things to do. So it just all depends on, what your number is, how long you feel like fighting and waiting for it. And to each their own on what that number is and what you decide, My number is probably not your number, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Jeff, I'm sorry, I'll be in Iowa. I am coming back. Did you get the, I don't get a Raycon on those, so I just forwarded you the email. I imagine that works. But, yeah, Grabber, I was good. They actually, they are very, 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 very strict. However, they give you brooms. They give you electric blower that you can use. They provide you with the dustpans, and they allow you to clean your trailer out. And then they inspect it. No, it was not IP. This was a shipper that I was picking up, and they are very, very picky about the condition of your trailer. To the point that they watched me blow the trailer out, and then they had me blow it all to the nose. Now, I had swept the trailer twice because I had read reviews on Google that they were very strict. So I swept my trailer out twice this morning before I got there, and it looked good. And then I got there, and they allowed you to have a blower. So I got a blower and blew everything to the nose. And surprisingly, even after sweeping it twice, I still ended up with a decent pile. Swept it all up on the metal plate, took it out. They sat there and watched me do this. Now, after they sat there and watched me do this, they get the quad beam out, right? They get the spotlight. And he goes in, and he is walking, and he's not only looking for the roof and the walls, but he's looking at my floor that they just watched me blow off with the blower, the electric blower plugged into the wall, not even a battery one that could be getting weak. So they are very, very strict. While I was there, there was a Schneider in the door next to me with a 1.9 trailer. Anybody coming from the pumpkin world knows what a 1.9 is. It is practically brand new, right? Rejected. He was in there before me and cleaned and blew out, and they rejected him. Yeah. So they were very, very picky. And yeah, see, they're just, it was a 1.9. And that trailer, I didn't even, when he told me that, he said he was headed outside to go tell that guy he had to leave, that he was rejected. And I had just finished blowing my trailer out. He had not inspected me yet. And as he walked away and went outside to tell the Schneider, and this was an IC, telling me he had to leave, I stuck my head over there behind that trailer to see what kind of condition it is. I couldn't even see a mark on the wall. The trailer looked brand new. Brand new. And they found a problem with it, which had me really concerned, because my trailer's not new anymore. It's less than a year old, but she's got marks on the walls, and the floor ain't pristine anymore. It's not got holes and all of that going on, but it's dirty. It's forklift traffic has stained, turned the floor. It's not that brand new wood look anymore. So I was very nervous when I see them turning this almost brand new Schneider trailer away, and I couldn't see nothing wrong with it. But he comes back in and he says he had glass in the floor, and whatever, maybe he did. I didn't see anything, but they said they had glass in the floor. So he comes and gets his big quad beam flashlight, and I'm like, oh hell, here we go. But he walked and walked and walked and went up one side and came back down the other and said I was good to go. So I was like, thank the Lord. He went ahead and loaded me. So yeah, Grabber, that was a bad situation there. Did you find the powder stuff that was at the Menards? Oh, it wasn't enough to soak it up? Wow. You must have had a lot. Holy moly. Bought the unbranded version. You got to spend the money, man. Come on now. You make all that money. You got to spend a little bit. You got to spend a little bit. Do the right thing. Don't be acting like Bert over here. Two bags. Well, fellas, just said oil dry. Yeah. That's all it said. That's like Bert. He doesn't drink a name brand beer. He when he pulls open the beer can, it says beer on the side of it. No name, you know. It's still got the old pull top on it. Not even a Papa top. It's got the thing that you rip off. That's the old Bert's beer right there now. Can't pay for Coors or Bud Light or nothing, you know. Nothing like that. He still buys his oil for his big truck in them metal cans. He's got to use the thing and put the hole in it and pour it in. New old stock, he calls it. New old stock. Gets it on discount down at the Big Lots. Brent, I'm gonna let Grabber tell you that, because I'm not gonna throw him under the bus, man. I'm not gonna throw him under the bus with that decision he made on that load. I'm not gonna do it. He'll have to put it out there for you. But anyway, I'm going to save the Grabber. Saved by the Bell. It's 64 minutes long. This is too long. It is time to go to bed. It is 10:20 Central Time. And we're going to get up and go early to go make my delivery in the morning. We're about an hour away from Cedar Rapids here at the Iowa 80. So we will see y'all later. And yes, much too long. I'm starting to act like James. This is not going to be tolerated. We got to cut this down. But, oh, it is 10. Oh, okay, that's even better. That is even better. I like that better. So we'll see y'all later. Everybody be safe. Shiny side up, rubber side down. That's the key ingredient there. And we will see y'all later. Peace.